All right, hit the like button if you would. We haven't asked you to do that tonight. I waited a little bit longer than usual, but hit the like button, subscribe, rate, review, and all the great stuff. And with that, Vince, are you
Is it
ready for
time?
rapid fire?
Rapid fire from long distance from the Carolinas, baby.
Boom!
Let's go.
We'll get to some more of these questions that we haven't got. They'll mix in with rapid fire. Some of them go with what we're going to talk
Yes, they
about
do.
in rapid fire. Fill in the blank. Notre Dame officially announced Gino Guiduli as
There it
quarterbacks
is.
coach today. And the thing you like most about that is blank.
His name. That's the part I like the best. I am going to enjoy saying Gino Guiduli.
Guiduli.
I'm going to really enjoy that. But no, from an actual coaching standpoint, I love his track record. I love his resume, what he's been able to do from a development standpoint. It's what fans have been screaming for how long, Sean? I mean, they have been looking for the dedicated quarterbacks coach for so long. Now they've got it, and they got a good one. And so I am very interested to see, because there's a lot of talent in that room, right? Sam Hartman needs to just be tweaked a little bit here and there, being in a pro-style offense, things like that. Tyler Buckner, we don't need to dive into who he is as a quarterback, but then you've got Kenny Minchie and CJ Carr, right? Those guys are young and talented, and let's see them develop into, game-changing quarterbacks. Like, that is really exciting. So I'm pumped about it.
You know what just struck me is it's easier for me to say Uyangalale and Agumbawale than it is Guiduli.
I don't know why.
I know.
You're going to
like
get
you
it.
said, I said it right the first day, and I've butchered it ever since. So,
it's in your head. Now it's in your head.
It is. Like I get all these consonants turned around is the problem. It's not the vowels that throw me off. I'm just glad that it's over. It's done. It's officially announced, because people were already starting to get antsy. When's it going to happen? And it's like, it really, to me, all this stuff has happened in a relatively short amount of time, considering over the years, like it could take 3 weeks to months time for stuff to become official after we got reports that it was going to happen. And this happened in what, a week and a half, something like that.
Felt like a long time, but it really wasn't. I mean,
but it's done, and I think he's going to be a good fit based on everything that we know about him. And they can just gear up, go forward, get ready for spring football. I think that's the biggest thing. They've got it under control, especially after a couple of weeks ago when everything blew up. The Guiduli thing was the smoothest piece to this whole off season.
Seriously, that was like instant. I mean, as soon as Ludwig, didn't work out, like the next day, it was like, okay, they're going to hire Gino Guiduli to be the quarterback's coach. Oh, okay. All right. Like that was instant. So, I mean, the pivot that Marcus Freeman made from one plan to the other plan it felt like it was instantaneous.
Yes. Fill in the blank. It's blank that Mike Brey says he's going to the linebacker for the first time ever later tonight after he coaches his last game at Purcell Pavilion.
It feels like a little white lie. That's how I'm going to put that. It feels like a little white lie that Mike Brey says he's going to the linebacker for the first time ever. Like, I don't know how I feel about that, but whatever. I mean, is he really going to go and like whoop it up with the fans and all that? Maybe. More power to him. Fans are going to get to see what Mike Brey's like in nightlife, I guess. So I don't know. It was weird that he brought that up the way that he did in that interview.
And it's like when I heard it, I'm like, come on, you got to be kidding me. Because like we know that he's spotted around. There's a couple particular spots where Mike Brey gets spotted all the time. It's no secret, right? Like he's out, he's doing his thing. He's whatever, and it's like you're going to, and maybe that's why, because he thinks they're far enough off the radar from right next to Notre Dame that he's just never been to the linebacker. And obviously the linebackers, a little bit different crew than some of the places that he goes as well. But it just seems odd. And he says he's closing it down. I hope they have something to celebrate tonight. I hope he can go over there and have some fun. But it's a pretty good Pittsburgh team that they're going to be facing.
I believe it's the #1 team in the ACC.
It is.
So good luck. Good luck. It's going to be interesting. Start tip-offs in 10 minutes. Stick with us, though. I'll let you know. I've got my feelers out. I'm going to let you know how full the stadium is when tip-off actually happens. I've asked for video, so we'll see.
Okay. So now we have come to the point in the show where we're going to talk about the Mark Packer stuff. And I saw the comment in the chat,
okay.
and I'll get to that here in a minute. But I want to play the comments first, and then we can talk about it. Because ACC Network announced the end-of-season Women's Basketball Conference Awards yesterday. That included Niele Ivey being named ACC Coach of the Year. And so Mark Packer, of course, the late Billy Packer is Mark's father, and a lady named Taylor Tannenbaum, they made the Coach of the Year announcement on the ACC Network yesterday. They were the ones in charge of, okay, here's, Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, all this different stuff they were unveiling. So this is the actual announcement. They have now come to Coach of the Year, and here's how the conversation went on ACC Network yesterday.
And load it up. The winner is Niele Ivey.
Niele Ivey. Congratulations to Coach Ivey back at her alma mater.
Explain that one to me.
So I can
help me on that one. Again, I'm not taking anything away from Coach Ivey.
Not at all.
Number 1 seed. They're top 10 all season long. Expected to be good. They were good. They suffered injuries. Still battled through it. They are the team right now with the one beside their name. I get all of that.
So your qualm is?
My qualm is, to me, who did the best job coaching this year? In my opinion, if I had a vote, I don't. Is Carol Lawson from Duke. I mean, nobody had Duke on the radar before the season started. We thought Notre Dame was going to be good. We thought Louisville was going to be good. NC State, North Carolina, Virginia Tech, the list goes on. The league's awesome. But Duke was in nobody's conversation as far as a factor in the race. And in my opinion, unless there's some kind of bylaw that I'm not aware of, that whoever finishes first gets the deal, no knock on Coach Ivey. She's awesome. She's a class act and has a great program. But Carol Lawson should have been the Coach of the Year, in my opinion. I think it's a no-brainer.
No, I hear you. What Carol Lawson has done with Duke has been absolutely outstanding, especially when you go from back of the pack, midway from the pack, to being at the forefront of the conference with a chance. They had the chance this past weekend to lock up that number 1 seed.
I get that, but before the season started, I don't know of anybody outside of the Duke locker room that said, hey, that's really cute you guys keep talking about NC State and Louisville and Notre Dame and Carolina and Virginia Tech and Florida State, but Duke's going to be the team. What are you going to get out of here? You fall down a flight of stairs? You hit your head again? What happened? What are you talking about, Duke? Carol Lawson should have been the Coach of the Year. I don't know who votes on it, but I can't. That one, when I saw that today, I went, come on. No way.
So there you have it. Niele Ivey is your ACC Coach of the Year. First one for Notre Dame since our Hall of Famer, Muffet McGraw, won it back in 2016.
I know Muffet's going to be mad at me saying that because she's got the pom-poms out. Listen, the pom-poms mean nothing to me, right?
I think coach respects good coach, right?
I get all that.
Yeah.
And Niele Ivey is an awesome basketball coach, right? They could win the national title from it, but they do need to get Olivia Miles back. But Carol Lawson should have been the ACC Coach of the Year. Should have been. I don't know what else you want me to tell.
No, nothing else. Niele Ivey has navigated some injuries, major injuries, all great coaches. Kenny Brooks was probably in the mix as well. He has Virginia Tech playing some incredible basketball too. But unfortunately, the award can only go
let's face it, Kenny Brooks' team.
So there you hear it, Vince. And, again, like we got the message in the chat, and I did see this tweet, and it was something I was going to bring up. Packer tweeted, said he was wrong, didn't handle it correctly, yada, yada, yada. But you heard it, and I was watching it live. Niele Ivey and her coaching staff are watching it live.
Sure.
And her team, they were all there watching it live.
Were you in the same room as all of them when they were watching?
No, I was not. I was at home because I was writing up the story so I could get it published and all that kind of stuff.
I was just curious.
It was within an hour of having to be at the airport actually yesterday. But so there you heard it on the ACC network announcing the ACC's Coach of the Year. What do you think about the way he handled, what he was saying there?
Well, first of all, that's not how you handle when somebody wins. Like, you don't immediately give pushback when you're speaking on the ACC network about the ACC Coach of the Year and you're announcing all of these things, whether you agree or disagree, and you can have that conversation at a later date. And I really don't have an issue with that. You can have that conversation. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But you just won ACC Coach of the Year, and it's like, Niele Ivey, explain it to me. Like, that is not your job, dude. Like, that was a terrible, unprofessional way to handle that situation. Whether you, like I said, whether you think she deserved it or not, that is not your job at that moment to get into a debate about whether she should or shouldn't have won the award. That's ridiculous.
And that's time and place.
Right,
time
exactly.
And place. Your job, because again, it's not like it's even on ESPN or Fox Sports or whatever. You are the ACC network.
Yes.
You are representing the ACC. It would be like, like if you went to the Grammys or the Oscars or the Emmys and the presenter got up there and said,
right.
and now the winner is blank. But before I give out this award, here's 10 reasons why I think someone, one of these other nominees should have won that. It's like the Kanye West Taylor Swift thing, with Beyonce a few years back. You remember that when he, like Beyonce should have won the award. It was like, that's not your job in that moment. The first thing out of your mouth shouldn't be, here's why someone else should have won the award. Like, you needed to spend at least, 10 seconds talking about, here's Niele Ivey, here's all she accomplished. Congratulations on Coach of the Year.
Yes.
Now, if you decide, like as he had made in his mind that it should have been Carol Lawson, maybe you can add your 2 cents about, now I would have voted for Carol Lawson. He's like, I don't even know who voted. Like, again,
really?
You work for the ACC,
like,
and you're presenting the award and you don't even know who voted. Well, so just so everyone knows, the coaches vote for this. The media votes for this. I've outlined on the board, I had a vote, sports information directors from each of the schools, and they combine all those votes, and that's how they come up with it. So there's a really big cross-section of people. It's not just a couple guys sitting in a back room saying, here's who we're going to name. And, again, as I pointed out, because, here's my tweet afterwards. Someone tell Mark Packer that Notre Dame women's basketball was picked to finish 4th in the ACC preseason poll, and Niele Ivey led them to the regular season championship. And he did respond to that. And he responded to one of the Irish assistants who retweeted my tweet. And like my tweet was kind of the thing that got the Twitter firestorm going yesterday, but he kept responding to people. And I think, as I saw people say, he's doubled down, but then he did come back. And I wonder if it's because of some blowback, because I know that there were some complaints filed with the conference. And I wonder if it's because of blowback that now he's coming back and saying, I didn't handle it well. I'm going to address it on the air to apologize to Niele Ivey. He
doesn't seem like the kind of person that's going to eat crow. You know what I mean? Like, it felt, to me, it felt like, because he was arguing with you about it. Like, it'd be one thing if he immediately said, you know what, you're right, blah, 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 blah. No, but he fought back from what it sounds like. And he's just wrong. Like, that is not, like, isn't he the co-host of, like, the morning show that they have?
Well, they used to do that. They used to have Packer and Durham, but they canceled that, I think, around a year or so ago.
Okay. Yeah. So, but I'm sure he has another platform where he can have this discussion. That is not the platform at all. And again, he's entitled to his opinion. I'm sure Carol Lawson did a great job, even though they don't know what size basketball to use during their games.
But again, if he did have a vote, which, as he says, he didn't, he would be one vote in the process.
Correct.
Like, not everyone who voted on this, I'm sure, voted for Niele Ivey. This was not a unanimous, they're never unanimous. I'm sure Carol Lawson got some votes.
I'm sure she did.
This is one person's, opinion in this whole thing, just like everyone had opinions. Just like I voted for Olivia Miles for Player of the Year. Elizabeth Kitley from Virginia Tech ended up being the 2-time Player of the Year. She averaged a double-double. She was still very deserving. I didn't happen to vote for her, but a lot of other people did. Miles still got a lot of votes because she finished second in the voting, So it's like, that's why you have a big pool of people to vote, as diverse as possible, people, who are covering the game. Again, time and place, completely wrong time to do it, because any of these awards, like if he had gone, because not only did he say what he said, when they came back from commercial break, one of the first things he said was, now I'm going to have a problem with one of these awards, and I'll tell you when we get there. And then they started going through, the different awards. And then he was like, okay, I don't have a problem with this one yet. I don't have a problem with this one, but I'll let you know. And then, so he knew what he was going to say, and he was building up to it. And again, it should be about the person who won the award.
Yes.
That was her moment. And it got spoiled because And again, it's fine if he thinks that finishing second place after being predicted to finish seventh is, enough of a criteria. But Notre Dame was picked to finish fourth, and they won the championship. And as I said in a response to him as well, call me old-fashioned, but I guess voters value winning. She won the regular season championship, and she's the coach of the year. So congratulations to Niele Ivey.
Yep, absolutely.
And we'll see what he has to say about it. I'm curious to see what his response ends up being.
Well deserved by her, by the way. Well deserved.
Yes. Kind of along the lines, people have been getting this a lot. Kevin asks, what is Olivia Miles' status? Really, all I'm at liberty to tell you is she is with the team here in Greensboro, and she was at the practice today.
Okay.
That's really all I'm at liberty to say, because I, do obviously get to see things that other people don't get to see, and I'm not allowed to divulge things.
Wow.
And I'm not saying that good or bad. I
are on the inside, my friend.
I can't tell you. You're going to have to wait until Friday, like everybody else, and see what happens. And I'll guarantee you this: when I do the pregame on Friday, Niele Ivey's not going to want to talk to me about Olivia Miles' status.
Guarantee you that's accurate.
The game is going to tip off, and everyone will find out together what's going on. So that's like, yeah. One more question on football, a super chat from Josh. When does spring practice start? We still haven't got an official date, but I believe it's going to be.
It's March 22nd. We did get that.
Oh, did we get a date?
Well,
okay.
They posted it on social media.
Okay,
they didn't send it to us, but I did see they posted
weeks.
it on social media. March 22nd is day one. So
okay, good deal. All right. And then Nathan was asking, in today's game, would Manti be a Viper?
No.
I think he's still a middle linebacker.
He's a middle linebacker. He is. He is the mold of a middle linebacker, no doubt about it. Yes, he's a middle linebacker. He's not a Viper.
I concur. All right. NFL draft combine's going on right now in Indianapolis. Ryan Roberts is down there. Head of the NFL Players Association, DeMaurice Smith, wants to get rid of the draft combine. He says he instead wants to establish regional pro days, potentially put on by the Players Association. Here's a quote. Quote, "We're now in an era where we know exactly how fast these guys can run, how much they can lift, how far they can jump, do all those things. Why do we insist on them showing up in Indianapolis? It's not for anything physical, right? It's for the teams to be able to engage in intrusive employment actions that don't exist anywhere else. We've been tracking all these players since they were in grade school? If I asked you right now to pull up a high school video of the top draft pick, how long would it take you to do it?" End quote. So, Vince, do you buy or sell what DeMaurice Smith is saying about get rid of the combine, do these regional kind of events instead?
No, it's stupid. The whole point of the combine is to bring everybody together so that the NFL teams only have to go to one place and they can interview all the people and they can see everybody in person and they can do everything all at once over a week-long span. That's the point. If they do them regionally, then they got to go to 4 different places and they got to do it all. Like, what?
Exactly.
Why would you multiply the amount of time that these scouts and GMs and everything else and coaches have to go to?
It's literally why they do the combine. All you're doing is creating smaller combine events around the country as opposed to one centralized event.
The dumbest thing I've ever heard. To be honest with you, it's dumb. I mean, understand.
If anything, if you're going to do away with it. But then, it's like, then everyone's having pro days, because everyone, you have a combine and you have a pro day. It's like,
right.
There's a reason they do the combine.
Correct.
Because it's just what you said, so that the NFL guys don't have to go all over the country.
Right. Absolutely. And there's already plenty of pro days for these guys to go to. And, they're not going to add regional combines. Like, they want it all in one place for a reason. Why? DeMaurice has more issues than he can count. And I don't know why he's taking up this one. Like, that it just seems silly to me.
I don't know if it's because he thinks that, like going there can potentially hurt more players' stock than help their stock, in terms of contract. It's very weird. You know, again, it's like, let's don't have one big combine. Let's have a bunch of combines in different places around the country. Makes no sense at all.
I don't have a problem. Like, I realize the tradition of having an Indy, and it's always been that way. So if they wanted to move it like they do the draft, if they wanted to move it to a couple different places over the years, I would be fine with that, if I'm being honest. You want to have it in Vegas one year, you want to have it in wherever. Okay, cool. But you need to have one. And that's the main one that everybody
And they're
knows.
actually talking about, you know, maybe starting to move the combine around in the future.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, GMs and coaches are getting on a plane anyway. It doesn't matter where the plane is headed. You know what I mean? So I don't think that matters quite as much. But you've got to have a combine. You just do. That's where you get to see everything, talk to everybody, etc.
I agree. So, Vince, baseball's made a lot of changes heading into this season. The 4 big ones: pitch clock, there's a 3 pickoff rule for pitchers, defensive shifts are banned, and they're also using bigger bases. So let's go through them. What do you think about the pitch clock? It's been getting a lot of play.
Yeah, it has.
In spring training over the last week.
It really has, and I think it's going to take a little bit for the players to get used to. But once they do, I think it's going to be a non-issue. If I'm being honest, I just don't see it as that big of a deal. It is going to speed the game up a little bit, which frankly I am for. So I'm cool with that. I'm cool with the pitch clock. It's just going to take players a little bit to get used to it.
Yeah, I'm a little bit torn on it. You know, I've seen that they've cut so far just in this first week. They've already cut like 25, 30 minutes off of game times. You know, like
that's
on average,
significant.
Which, like, the reason I'm torn is because if I'm watching a game on TV, I definitely want at least closer to 3 hours than 3.5 or 4. But if I'm shelling out money to go to a major league game, I honestly don't care how long the game takes, because I'm there with the family and I'm, you know, having fun, and, you know, I like hanging out at the ballpark. I want to get all my money's worth when I go to the ballpark, you know? So I haven't been able to sit down and actually watch a game over an extended period of time yet to see the difference. You know, I know that there's like a video that they've done where they've matched like 1/2 inning, you know, now with a 1/2 inning of another game, and, you know, just how much more action has been happening. So from that aspect, it is good, because I did try to watch a lot of, you know, like try to watch baseball. In these last couple years, the pace of the game has just gone to a crawl because there's no action going on. So I think it is good that they're at least trying to force some action out. You know, like the other sports have clocks. Like they did. Basketball didn't used to have a shot clock. They went to a shot clock, and the purpose is speed things up and not just give one team the ball. And like, I do like the fact that a pitcher can't just stand out there and be a human rain delay, and batters can't keep stepping out of the boxes. Force some action out there.
Yeah. I don't really have an issue with it either, man. You know, it is what it is.
What do you think about the 3 pickoff rule?
Now, this one to me is very interesting, because I feel like teams are never going to throw over more than twice now. Because if they throw over 3 times, the guy's going to get a great jump. I mean, I don't know why you would paint yourself in that corner.
Once you've thrown over 3 times, then the guy knows you can't throw over anymore.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't like this one, to be honest with you. And of all of them, this is the one I like the least.
I'm with you
because of that. It affects the actual gameplay and the strategy of the game. Now, I will agree. I don't like it when a pitcher throws over 3, 4, 5 times. It's ridiculous. But you at least have to have the element of surprise that he might do it.
Right.
And when you limit it at 3, if they happen to throw over 3 times, I'm giving the steal sign all day.
And, you know, again, like people have talked about, I don't want, you know, like with the pitch clock, I don't want in the 9th inning, you know, the pitch clock determining the outcome. I think by the time, you know, they'll make their adjustments in spring training. By the time they get to real games, I don't think it's going to be that much of an issue, because they'll have it figured out to an extent. But like with this pickoff rule, what if you got a fast guy at first base in the 9th inning? You know, like Dave Roberts, Red Sox, Yankees, Mariano Rivera, you know, the arguably I guess the second most famous stolen base ever, because Jackie Robinson stealing home against the Yankees in the World Series, probably the most famous stolen base ever. But the Dave Roberts steal of second base in 2004 in Game 4 led to the Red Sox the greatest comeback in any sport in a 7-game series. If he doesn't steal second base, the comeback never happens. The Red Sox don't win that World Series. And Mariano Rivera threw over there a few times. That completely alters that kind of situation. Crucial game situation.
Correct.
I don't like it at all.
Yep. Big problem with that.
USMA 87. Are they going to limit the number of foul balls? And that's like, I remember when I first started playing softball, after growing up playing baseball, it's like you hit strike 2 foul and it's like, like that's strike 3 now. And it's like, oh, are you kidding me? But
it's terrible.
It's exactly what he's talking about. They do it to keep the game moving along.
Oh, terrible rule.
Yep. What about banning the shifts?
I mean, I'm okay with it. I hate the shift if I'm being honest, but I don't. I've said that. I've said if I'm being honest like 10 times tonight. I really
I think
did not
someone's
like
winning. Got the bingo card on you.
Yeah, seriously. I don't like the shift. I didn't like the shift. I like the old school third, short, second, first, outfield's playing in the right spot, etc. Right? I like that. I never liked the shift. It's a lot easier said than done to hit away from the shift. It just is. I mean, the math is all there. So I like the fact that they're going to do it this way. Now, teams are going to just bring in an outfielder and just play with 2 outfielders, essentially, and they're probably going to have a lot of success doing it that way. But I, frankly, am a fan of them banning the shift. I know that's going to make people that might get people upset, but I'm actually happy that they're banning the shift because I never liked it.
No, I didn't either. It was too much, because again, it like goes back to softball, like you're playing with a rover out there in the outfield and the, like playing a third baseman behind second base, all that stuff. I don't think that there's anything wrong with just saying you've got to have 2 infielders on each side of the bag. Now you can still get one close to second base or you can get them both close to second base. But again, they're trying to bring back some action into the game.
Right.
And how many hits where a guy hits the snot out of the ball right up the middle, that turn into nothing.
And you can still have a guy kind of up the middle, and I get that. But you were a
but
coach.
at least make it a little bit more of a challenge.
Right. You were a coach. I was a coach. When you're in the batting cage, what are you wanting the guys to do every time they hit off of a tee or whatever? Line drives. Like, that's what you want. And it takes that away. Everything that they've learned all the way from like 5 years old up is gone when you do the shift. It's gone. You want to hit up the middle. Like, that's what you want to do. And that's why I hated the shift. It just goes against everything that you teach a hitter. And I don't like it.
And then the final one is bigger bases. And I couldn't believe when I saw a picture of what the old bases were and what these new bases
look massive.
Like. And apparently the thinking behind this, like trying to avoid some of that contact on the plays at second base and stuff like that. But they're also trying to incentivize stolen bases because by having those bigger bases,
you can go wider, I guess.
Well, it shortens, the base paths a little bit. True. For one, and just to play, the ability to get there a little bit quicker, I guess, at second base. They're trying to bring the stolen base back into vogue, which I think
I'm
is
all
good
for.
As well. Yeah,
I love the stolen bases. I love action on the base paths. That's how I coached, and that's what I enjoy. Yeah, I don't know if bigger bases are really going to bring back more stolen bases. Maybe they will. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I think the bigger bases look ridiculous. It's almost as bad as having
they do look like clown bases, basically.
It's almost as bad as having the orange base next to first base, that you run to in the old man softball league. Like,
right.
I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. I don't know that it's going to affect the game in a positive way. I don't like that at all. Now, to throw a curveball at you, pun intended, they're still doing the man on second base in extra innings, aren't they?
They are. And
that's the
John
worst
brought
rule
that
possible.
Up earlier. Doesn't like it.
Worst rule possible. That of all of the ones that they're bringing, I hate that one. I hate it. You should have outlawed that one when you got past second grade and you started doing ghost men on second. Like, that's what it is. It's a ghost man on second. Terrible, terrible, terrible rule. It changes the way you operate in extra innings. I understand why they're doing it, and I hate it.
Yeah. Anthony says the bigger stolen bases are more about preventing injuries than creating more stolen. It's actually about both, because I've heard the conversation. I mean, but the play at second base is the biggest thing that they want to cut down on. But again, I mean, these bases are literally, there's like a foot. You're adding a foot to the bag almost, which means, with every bag, so again, it's injury at second base is the biggest thing, but the stolen base is part of it, because again, it's shortening the base paths a little bit. And they were trying to come up with a way. And again, I'm not just making this up, because, I've heard like the MLB Network and the ESPN guys talking about it. They were trying to come up with a way to figure out, like, how do you incentivize stolen bases? Well, you make, if the bags are bigger, it makes the base paths a little bit smaller. And so you have a little bit more of a chance to steal a base. And they wanted to find a way to incentivize getting teams to steal more bases, to bring more action to the game, which I'm all for that. And just everything that you said, I agree. And, like, we grew up in the stolen base. Like I grew up watching Ricky Henderson and Tim Raines, Willie Wilson, all those guys.
It's all about stolen bases. I love, like I said, I love action on the base paths. I always have. My kids were always active on the base paths, whether we were good at it or not. Like that, we were going to run and we were going to make you get us out,
right?
And it won us some games, man. Like it won us some games, Sean. And I know you probably felt the same way when you were coaching. I mean, when you are, we were the underdog going into games, and we had to kind of take matters into our own hands at times. You know what I mean? And stealing bases is one of the ways to do that.
Right.
So
make teams make plays. That's right.
Yeah.
Little havoc on the bases. Nothing wrong with that.
Right.
That's like both the Royals and the Cardinals in the late 70s, early 80s. Stolen bases were a huge part of their world championships. Mr. 2.0, I've never – okay, so Brian, Sean Davis apparently, and Ryan have all encountered this question. Are Pop-Tarts ravioli? And I'm not exactly sure what that means. Like,
well, it's a pocket of stuff with stuff in it, I guess.
Okay.
So it's like,
okay, I didn't think
the answer is no, because ravioli is pasta and a Pop-Tart is bread.
Right.
So I mean, that would be the major difference. But I understand where the question
technically
is coming
though, they're both made from flour. You just bake.
It's a lot of things made from flour. But
sugary goodness, sugary sweet goodness in a Pop-Tart. My vote is no.
My vote is no as well. I just can't do that to pasta. It's not fair.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for tonight. We actually stirred people up with a little bit of baseball. I wasn't sure.
Love it.
Where people would be on that.
I love it. I can't wait for baseball. I've watched zero baseball up to this point. I still can't watch Marquee, so I can't watch the Cubs, which may be a blessing. I'm not sure yet. But I'm not as excited as I normally am.
There's 3 regional sports networks that are losing, like the 3 Major League Baseball teams. The regional sports network that they're with is going under. So
really,
they're trying to figure out who's going to get the rights and all that kind of stuff.
Yeesh.
Yes.
Yeesh.
You can't end on a Pop-Tart question, Derek says. Well, give me something else then. I don't know.
Ryan apparently agrees that it is a ravioli.
Interesting.
That's hard for me to fathom on that one.
Is he part Italian?
I'm going to go with no, but I don't say it with a lot of confidence.
Okay.
I don't know. Roberts doesn't strike me as an Italian name.
No, but like his mom could have been Italian.
So. I mean, it's possible. I mean, he lives in Jersey, so I mean, it's definitely possible.
True. Very true. All right. Well, that's going to do it for tonight. Appreciate you dropping in this evening and participating, throwing us some questions. We had a lot of good questions and conversation tonight, so we appreciate it. Hit the like button when you leave, and of course, subscribe, rate, and review. And we will talk to you. Oh, before I say we'll talk to you tomorrow, one note: Friday we will have the rapid fire show, but we're going to go ahead and make it 6:00 instead of the typical Friday 5:00 because the Notre Dame women play at 2. So we're going to push it to 6 just to make sure I've got enough time to get back here and get ready and all that kind of stuff.
It's good to know.
Yes.
Thanks.
No problem. I was going to let you know at some point, but I figured I'd let everybody else know as well.
Okay.
All right. We'll talk to you tomorrow. IB Nation Sports Talk.